It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. Welcome back, welcome back. My name is Joseph James, schooloftrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com, our web addresses. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Today is Monday evening, September 8th, 2014, getting ready for a Tuesday session here. But boy, do we have an exciting newsletter for you guys and gals, jam-packed with useful trading information right in front of us here tonight. Boy, hope you guys had a great weekend. I'll tell you, great weather this time of year, right? You get a chance to watch all the leaves turn. The kids are going back to school out of your hair a little bit, right? Give those kids somebody else to watch there for a few hours every day. I'm kidding with you guys. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Welcome back to our newsletter. The fall is in full swing, and tonight on our newsletter, we're going to talk about what happened today. We'll talk about what's on the schedule for tomorrow, and then you know how we always roll. We'll save the best for last. We'll wrap up with strategies for gold, crude, and Russell. By the end of the session tonight, you'll be ready for tomorrow no matter what happens. Up, down, sideways, you, my friend, will be prepared. Now, before we jump into our charts this evening, I do want to remind you guys, make sure you're watching this video on our blog right now here at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching this video on our YouTube page, there should be a link right below the video, and click on that link for three reasons. The first reason is below the video tonight, there's a link where you can download all of the charts that I use every day on the newsletter and, of course, again, tomorrow morning in my live trade room, right? So I do a lot of work every day on these charts. I make sure they're always up to date, and you can download them all and have them ready for the session tonight, tomorrow, right, whenever you need them. Second thing here, upper left-hand corner, you might be curious how we actually use these price levels to make a profit every day. I'm glad you asked. I would love to invite you on a free pass into our live trade room. There's a spot for it right in the upper left-hand corner. Click on that link, and when you register for your free pass, don't forget to check your email because I'm going to ask you to verify your email. 1, 2, 3, right? There you go. It is a Monday. The third thing here, lower left-hand corner, right above my ugly mug, is a spot there to give me your name and your email address. You can register for our nightly newsletter mailing list. That way you never have to worry about missing another newsletter again. Just give me your name and your email address, and I'll kindly send you a copy of my newsletter every evening like clockwork. Don't forget, if you register for our newsletter, if you register for our free pass, make sure you check your email. I'm going to send you a verification email to make sure you are not a robot. All right, let's get started here this morning, or this evening, I should say. It is the afternoon here in Los Angeles. A nice day here in Los Angeles today. Getting a little bit chilly, though, here this time of year. All right, let's jump right in here. What happened today? Well, today, my friends, we always begin the session in our trade room. We talk about the day of the week of the month of the year. And this morning, we identified the fact this was the Monday of the second week of the month of September. And we pinpointed on that saying, this is Reaction Monday. Now, how do we know that? Well, the first Friday of the month, right? If this was going to be Friday, first week of September, we'd have non-farm payrolls. This is the Monday following non-farm payrolls. We call this Reaction Monday. Now, don't forget, boy, they were calling for 230. They were the upper end of the estimates last week were 290. They were calling for 230 on the non-farm payrolls last Friday. What did we get? We got 142. So a pretty disappointing jobs report, but I think a lot of experts kind of discounted this because the prior month was well over 300,000, and historically, supposedly, whenever we have a non-farm payroll report over 300,000, we usually never get the following month above 200, right? So it kind of went right along with history. Kind of the idea behind it is for whatever reason, there was a lot more jobs reported in last month's report, and that, of course, took away from jobs in this month's report. Whatever you want to blame it on, it definitely appeared that the markets shrugged that off a little bit today. Russell pushed higher. Crude collapses. Crude got all the way down to 92 today. Mini Russell pushed higher even in the wake of that last Friday's non-farm payroll report. Gold pushed lower, and when people ask me, why is gold going lower? Why is crude going lower? Well, here's a good example of why. On the left-hand side, you get my dollar index, right? The mighty USD, the world's reserve currency. The US dollar index is made up of a basket of currencies. 60% of them are the euro. When the dollar pushes higher on strength of the US economy, or, in this case, pushed higher because of the default, right? Super Mario last week on Thursday morning came out, Mario Draghi, right, the head of the ECB, he came out last week and basically said they were going to be devaluing the euro by printing more money and doing some quantitative easing, right? He calls it the ABS program. In other words, they're buying bad debt, right? Pretty much what the U.S. did a few years ago to get them out of that free fall we were in, and they're trying it here on the euro. Now we'll see what happens in the future. We can't read the future, but we do know though that basically the head of the ECB basically said we're going to be making that euro less valuable. And that by default, because the dollar index is 60% euro, right? By default, it has to go higher, right? So it will go higher. So negative correlation between the dollar and the euro. The euro makes up the largest currency of the dollar index, and therefore it will be the one that has the closest correlation to it. All right? So what's happening right now? Strong dollar. What does a strong dollar do? A strong dollar means I can go to China and buy a whole lot more junk, right? Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? So I can go elsewhere and I can import more products, right? I can get them cheaper here in the U.S. Now, when things are cheaper in the U.S., what happens? Prices go down. Why? Because of supply. There's no scarcity, right, of junk from China, or there's no scarcity of U.S. equities, right? Well, right now what's happening is this strong dollar is making it easy for U.S. traders, right, or anyone around the world with U.S. dollars in their back pocket. It makes equities cheap. They're going to buy those equities, right? They make them a bargain. And when you buy equities, what happens? Demand increases and prices rise. So the strong dollar is responsible for that rising price, again, even in the wake of last week's disappointing, right, jobs report on Friday. So equities continue to push. Now, long term, of course, they're pushing. Today, most of the equities were about break even or a little bit underwater today, right? But we're talking about overall fundamentals right now. So it'll push up equities, all right? The strong dollar combined with a weak euro will also push down gold. Why? Why? Because a stronger dollar means, right, gold is a lot cheaper in comparison. Gold now, of course, becomes cheaper. There's no scarcity of gold. And also, at the same time, we're becoming numb, it feels like, to all the violence around the world, right? Artillery fire in the Ukraine, more violence in Gaza. What's new, right? We're becoming numb to this violence around the world right now. So all the news media, all the fear-mongering is really starting to backfire right now, gold pushing lower because of overall fears. Now, very interesting how crude's been reacting, right? Very interesting how crude's been reacting. Crude oil being pushed lower here right now. Fundamentals on crude. Why is crude going lower? Well, again, strong dollar means crude becomes cheaper by comparison. Right? Simple supply and demand there. Also, there are some hidden reasons why we're very bearish on crude. Now, obviously, I'm a technical guy myself, and I've been warning you guys about buying crude for 6 months now. We've been talking about selling crude for a very long time, and we've made our year already on that short from 100 down to 95, I think it was, a few weeks ago. But the bottom line is we have a couple factors right now that are contributing to crude going lower. Obviously, the strong dollar. That's one of them. But there's a little tiny wrinkle here. We just got some reports out of China. There's a big concern about the European economy and the Chinese economy, right? So we have slowdowns other places in the world. What happens when other markets slow down? Do you think people are opening up new businesses in China right now? No. Are they opening up new businesses in Europe right now? Probably not. What's it going to do? It's going to kill the demand for crude oil. Right? So demand is lower as the global economy slows down. And then just a little hidden tidbit here, right? What they call the summertime driving season, right, is now over. right? So the summertime driving season, everybody gets in their car and goes on vacation in the summertime, right? What's happened? Now they're back to school. No more family trips anymore. No more filling up the old Winnebago, right? Grabbing Walt and the rest of the crew and heading off into the sunset, right? So we know there are many, many reasons why this strong dollar and this weak euro, right? Strong dollar makes everything cheaper in comparison, right? So by comparison, crude, gold get cheaper. It also makes a discount for the Russell and all the other E-minis right now. On top of that, the equity markets right now, because of that kind of collapse here in the euro and because of the rest of the world slowing down right now, we are really the only game in town for a long-term investor. Okay, so fundamentals are definitely in play right now, in case you were curious, right? But you know me though, right? I'm not a fundamental trader, although I do know the holy grail here, proper risk management, right? Discipline and patience combined with a little bit of fundamentals helping out a high percentage technical strategy, right? When we can combine fundamentals and technicals, woo, watch out, right? We get a pretty solid plan of attack. So fundamentals are definitely helping us out right now. How can we combine the technicals, right? Because the technicals, remember, fundamentals, you got to have some experience, right? You got to be with it. You got to be always in the game if you want to follow the technical or the fundamental, right, opportunities. That's why we always say technical traders have it so much easier if you're a brand new trader. If you're a brand new trader, learning fundamentals, unless, of course, you're a Mensa guy or gal, right? Unless you're part of the 190 IQ club, or unless you happen to have a knack for global, right, global macroeconomics, which not many of us spend our free time dabbling in that. Unless you have some freak of nature knack or you've got some super high IQ, you probably are not going to be able to sit down and within a few weeks pick up the fundamentals, right? It'll come to you eventually. The technical aspects are the easiest to learn because I'm a pattern trader. That's all I look for. I use 3 simple steps to success, right? We talk about these all the time. I find my trend. That's a technical clue. I find my setup. That's a technical setup. And then I find the entry pattern. That's a technical entry pattern. It requires very little experience. The only experience I need is the experience to know how to find the trend, how to find the setup, and how to find the pattern. I can teach you that in a few days. So fundamentals are great and they're very interesting, right? If you're like me, I find them very interesting. But in all reality, I make my money off the technicals. So what are the technicals telling us right now here in the Russell? Well, we can see here today, again, starting with the equity markets here, the E-mini. You can see we went right up to that high of that range last week. And if you remember, I said last week, boy, if we get that disappointing jobs report, we maybe look out below all the way down to this 1121.5. That was what we thought we might end up here. But sure enough, though, this Russell showed some great strength here today, holding off those sellers and really making a great buying opportunity for us right now. Now, I don't want to say I told you so. Okay, but I told you so, right? I know, I'm having some fun with you guys this evening. I told you guys, though, last week not to go writing off these buyers just yet. In fact, if you recall from last week, I said my exact level, I believe it was 61.6. It may have been a little bit lower at like 60.6. I can't recall what it was. The next chart will tell you exactly that level, what it was. But we have really gone and pulled back here on this 64 anchor right into a beautiful spot to be a buyer. Guys, we know it's just good business practice to buy something at a discount, right? I want to buy at a discount. I want to sell at a premium. This is a discounted price right now, and you can see it's a great spot to be a buyer. I got my long-term channel right at that low. The only thing I can see that may cause one more leg down would be the BMT here at 53.7, the lower end of our long-term cloud. You'll notice that hasn't been tested yet. So there's a chance here this week, we may grind lower here and then hit, right, and then get to buying again. We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But the way it looks like right now, though, if all else goes as planned right now, it's a great buying opportunity here for us on the E-minis right now. I've got targets above here, 87.9, we'll say 87.5. I've got 98.3, and then, whoa, whoopsie daisy, that's the all-time highs again. 1210.7. So 3 targets overhead. And don't forget, we get the top of this channel here that will also be a moving target for you guys, depending on when we get there. So be aware. Great spot to be a buyer right now on the Russell. Let's dig in a little bit closer here. Now, again, this is the chart that I gave you last week. That's right. My level was 60.9. That's what it was. I knew that sounded about right. And if you remember from last week, my exact words were, be ready for it. Remember last week, guys? I told you guys we had a ton of symmetry down here, a ton of buy spots. This was an easy one for us. This is a classic case of price pulling back, not reversing, before going higher. Right? This is always the case. And what do we always talk about? Well, in my trade room, we talk about what I call the trend life cycle. And the trend life cycle basically says something like this. As the price is moving higher, my good friend Richard Wyckoff says the trend gets the benefit of the doubt. So what happened was we start going sideways a little bit, right? We go sideways here. We found that range. And now the question is, do we go higher and continue, or do we go lower and reverse, right? That's ultimately what happened here. And remember what I said last week, right? My exact words last week were, this is going to be my range here. That's my line in the sand. I said, anybody can put together a new low, but can you continue that low? That's the key. We got the pullback right to that buying opportunity. This is the exact area I gave you guys last week. I told you guys not to be too bearish here just yet. Sure enough, right now we start to go higher again. This happens all the time. And what's ultimately happening is those sellers are getting trapped right under this range right now. And guess what? They got stops in place, don't they? Where would your stop loss be if you were a seller? Well, I don't know about you guys, but my stop would probably be right about there, right about where that prior low was. So guess what's going to happen? Once we get above that, bam, right? Buy, 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 buy. All the buy orders flood the market, and now we're right back in waiting for pullbacks, and we've got our eyes on that 1210, right? Those all-time highs again, all the way up top there. So see what happened here? We've got the stops here now being run. We pull right back into the exact area I gave you guys last week. I'm not making this stuff up. Do not take my word for it. You should not believe a word out of my mouth. Go back and listen to last week's newsletter, last Thursday, and you'll see exactly what I was talking about, right? I think my long-term track record speaks for itself. But again, go back and watch yesterday's newsletter. It'll be last Thursday night. It's on the blog, and you can see exactly what I said last week. So now, here we are. What's my trend, right? Let's think about those 3 steps to success here. What's my trend? My trend is bullish. How do I know? I've got green clouds. I'm above all the key moving averages. Bullish trend. Where's my setup? Right? We just triggered that setup. So get to buying here right now. Where's my entry? Right? That's the 3rd step. The entry pattern, you got to come out and see me tomorrow morning in my trade room, and I'll give you guys the entry patterns live in real time with exact entries and exits. As we go higher here, I've got targets waiting for you guys overhead. 81.4, 87.9, and then there is a bit of a hop, skip, and jump up to that high, right, up to that all-time high. Now, if you draw the trend line through here, you'll notice there's a little bit of a possible target there, depending on when we get there, right? But I would say right now, though, you should be easy for a target there at 81.4, 84.4, and then you've also got this, again, the prior week high here, 87.9. Don't say I didn't warn you guys and gals on that Russell. And then last but not least here, the short-term targets you can see on this Russell, new higher high, pull back into the setup. Again, green light here on the Russell right now to be a buyer. I've got plenty of targets overhead for you guys to use if you're going to be a short-term scalper. I've given you plenty of reasons to be a buyer right now. We just tagged that setup at 65.8, 63.8, right? Pulled right back into that buy setup. Now we're off the races looking for buying opportunities here on the Russell. One thing here before I let you guys go on the Russell here. Be aware, it does look like this might end up becoming a sideways range. If we can't make a new high overnight, this is going to most likely become a sideways range. We are still going to be bullish, but come in and see me tomorrow morning. If we don't make an overnight high here above 74.1, make sure you touch base with me tomorrow morning so I can give you guys some updated levels and a little bit of a fresh look at market personality. We'll read some tape, we'll look at the personality, and we'll go forward from there. All right? So short term here, little bit of a sideways move on it, but again, we'll see how it looks going into tomorrow morning. Moving forward from the Russell down to my mighty gold here. What do we got here? This funny yellow metal, the gold futures. We can see the gold here has, oh boy, just poked its head below that low here. We are all the way down the lows of that range. We should, keyword should, right? We don't know anything for sure here, but we should have gold find some support down here at these lows, right? You'll notice we got this trend line that we drew, lining everything up at the lows there. So we're all the way down at those lows. We poked our head out just a little bit here, and we couldn't quite close lower. So this tells me here right now we are probably going to get some support here, right? So we got a little bit of a wick at the bottom of that daily candle there on gold. So we're all the way down at the low there. That definitely tells me we're bearish here, but it also reminds me I don't want to be selling these lows, right? Now, over to our 64 anchor chart. You know the drill, guys, right? What's my trend? Trend is down. How do I know? Red cloud, I'm below all the key moving averages. Where's my setup to sell? All right, I want to sell because I'm bearish. Where's my setup to sell? I'm glad you asked. 61.4, 74.9, 80.2, 87.9, 92.4. These are our sell zones overhead. Also, look closely here, guys. I've got symmetry at 73.4, 78.5. Got a bunch of symmetry here at 85. Plenty of areas to look for selling opportunities. Trend is down. Setups are overhead. Where's my entry pattern? Come out and see me tomorrow. I'll walk you guys through the entry patterns in real time tomorrow morning. You've got your stuff ready to go there on the gold. And then don't forget, we get some targets waiting for you down here. 42.5. I got 4 targets. These will obviously be long-term targets. See, this is a 64 anchor. So we got 42.5, 38.9, 32.2, and 19.5 for the targets here on the gold. You got that chart ready for you tomorrow. Here's my 32 anchor. A lot of the same stuff. Slightly different levels here now. A little bit faster time frame here now. Again, 3 steps to success. What's my trend? Trend is down. How do I know? Red clouds, right below the key moving averages. Notice I didn't say lower lows. Doesn't matter to me here. Not for my trend. Where's my setup? Where's my setup? Great clue here. I've got a symmetry setup at 63. Right, 62.9 to 63.2. I've got a trigger zone set up, 65.7, 68.8. I've got my secondary trigger zone, 73.4, 76.1. I have a sell set up at 80.2 and another trigger zone set up at 87.9. Look in between here too, and you're going to see we've got symmetry, 63s, symmetry, just about 70, right? Symmetry, 74. Members, you know what I'm talking about. You know how we find these, right? So we get a ton of symmetrical resistance here on gold, just a few shakes higher here. Going forward, 32 down to my 16. This is for all the scalpers out there, right? For all you scalpers out there that don't want to wait too long, right? Here you go. On my gold here, what's my trend, right? See, you're getting the hang of this thing right now, right? Imagine how easy this will be when I properly teach you all this material. Trend, setup, entry pattern. Where's my trend? What's my trend? Trend is bearish, right? How do I know? Red cloud. This is easy, guys. This is not rocket science. This is day trading. Okay, it's not going to be that complicated. What's my setup? Setup, 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 setup. I got reversal line set up, 58 even, right? I've got a trigger zone set up, 63.5. I've got a symmetrical setup, 69 even. I've got another sell zone set up here, 68.8, more, 69.9, 73.4. Shall I go on? You get the point, right? Plenty of opportunity there to get short. Also, one thing here you'll notice is a long-term downtrend. We got that channel here, so keep an eye on that channel. That channel is a dynamic level of resistance. It means it's always going to be different, right? So depending on when we get there, the high of that channel will be a little bit different each time. So be aware of that moving target. Speaking of targets, you can see here we already nailed one target on the way down. Another one here, 47.7, 40.4. So targets waiting for you guys below. You got plenty of targets waiting for you below. And again, if you want real time trade calls, exact entries, exact exits, what are you waiting for, guys? Why are you doing this on your own? Come out and join a community of traders. Be part of my chat room. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The most amazing people in the world in that chat room every day. Love every minute of it. You'll meet traders from around the world, including your neck of the woods. Also, join the trade room tomorrow. We'll give you guys updated information, right? This, of course, will be updated tomorrow morning live in real time and provide you with exact entries and exits. That way you don't have to do this on your own, right? Don't do this on your own. You don't need to, especially with the internet these days. All right, moving forward here. On the crude, moving from the gold now to that black gold here, that funny yellow metal over to the Texas T. Now look at this. We dipped our toe in the water today here on crude all the way down to that 92, right? Big wick to it. You can see this is the second market today, right? The gold did the same thing. We got this big wick on it, right? Which suggests that the sellers dipped their toe in the water here below 92 and then whoop, right back up it went. Now, this may have been a reversal. How do we know if this reversed off that or if it just retraced off that low? We're clearly in a downtrend here on crude right now. Here's a 64 anchor, and I'm just kind of curious about this. I'm just kind of having some fun with this chart, right? Didn't you guys ever have fun with technical analysis when you were a kid? That was only in my household? I'm kidding with you. I'm kidding with you. Technical analysis is fun because we use it to print money. That's why it's fun, right? So looking at this chart, my 64 anchor, what are a couple of things that stand out? Well, first of all, we can see this short-term downtrend, right? Maybe not short-term on this chart, but it is a pretty significant long-term downtrend here. I mean, this goes all the way back here, right, to the middle to beginning of June. So we clearly have a relatively, we'll call it medium-term downtrend. We found this channel, right? Easy to find the channel. And you can see, if you look closely, you can see there's a clear head and shoulders here. Right, so we are definitely off to the races here to the downside right now, right? And remember, the best way to trade a head and shoulders, not your typical. On a head and shoulders like we're seeing right now on crude, remember, line up that neckline, but don't fall victim, right, to that typical sell below the neckline. The professionals are going to wait and sell it after it goes back and tests that trend line, right? That's the easy way to trade a head and shoulders, because what you've probably seen before is you probably noticed it can get just a little bit hairy here, right? When it goes below that neckline the first time, right? That's because so many people know about head and shoulders patterns. So we can see here when I kind of draw that in here now, right? You can see we go below the neckline, below the trend line, come back up. Guys, this is not looking good for crude buyers here right now. If you own a couple of those barrels of crude that you tried buying at 104 when they invaded Ukraine, right? Yeah, you're kicking yourself right now for buying those highs. That's why you don't buy highs. That's why professionals don't buy highs. We buy where? We buy lows. We sell highs, right? I don't care what the news fear mongering tells you. So I see two things here. I see the new channel. I see the head and shoulders, right? So all of this tells us look out for shorts right now. And again, having some fun with technical analysis, right? We got just a little bit of fun here. January 9th, 2014, we're down at 85s, right? Pretty much 86. Are we looking at the same thing right now? Are we going to be back here? What is January 9th, 2015 going to bring? What is January 9, 2015 going to bring? Boy, I'll tell you, 2015, it's amazing to even think about that number, isn't it? Remember back in the Y2K days? Oh my God, the computers are going to flip out. 1999. What are they going to do when it turns 2000? That was almost 15 years ago. It seems like it was just yesterday. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. Hope you guys have enjoyed all 15 years of it. It's been fun too. So we can definitely see here, we got some downward pressure here on crude, right? So trend is definitely down right now on the crude. So we know my trend is down, right? Let's follow our 3 steps. Where's my trend? Where's my setup? Where's the entry? What? My trend's easy. Trend is down. Where's my setup right now? My next sell setup, right? I want to follow the trend. I drew this little cute little trend line in here, right? You can use that trend line. That trend line will be a great spot for a sell. All right. I've also got, so we got trend line sell. If you look closely, I've got 93.75. That's going to be symmetry for a sell. I've got 93.82, 94.15, 94.40. Want to keep going? Sure. 94.45, symmetry as well. 94.97, and that puts us at the top of this bear channel, right? So there's a bear channel you can see here that we've drawn in, right? And it lines up nice and easy, right? So I'm looking to sell short. I've got a trend line. I've got symmetry. I've got trigger zone, reversal line, trigger zone, symmetry, trend line, right? A lot of different ways we can sell short. The hardest part about this, guess what? Staying patient, right? We talk about that dirty 4-letter word, right? We talk about fear. We talk about hope. We talk about praying, right? All those bad 4-letter words, right, that do horrible things for new traders' careers. Well, here's the hardest one. You ready? Get the kids out of the room for this one. This is a dirty one. You ready for this one? W-A-I-T. Oh, geez. You're exactly right. We got to wait. That's the hardest part of what we do. It is. The Holy Grail is right between our eyes and ears, guys. Our ability to stay patient. In the midst of all the fear-mongering, all the news media sensationalizing everything, stay patient. Wait for, what was it again? What was it again? I forgot. What was it again? You've been paying attention. That's right. What's my trend? Trend is down. Now, here's an example where my trend is down, but I get a little short-term change, right? That's not enough for me to say the trend is down, is it, guys? When do I say the trend is up? I say trend is up when the long-term turns green, right? Where's my setup? Where's my setup? I want to sell with this downtrend. Where's my setup going to be? Perfect timing. Look at this channel. Brilliant. Brilliant, right? So we get a channel high. Sell setup, channel high. By the way, selling the highs of a bear channel, delish. One of my favorite ways, right, to trade short. Now we know we get a channel set up here. What else we got? 93.22, 93.30, symmetry setup. Trigger zone setup, 93.37, 93.57. I've got a couple other trigger zone setups up here, 93.97, reversal line, 94.16. I'm sorry. My blind here, 94.16 reversal line, 94.29. I'm seeing double. It's only Monday. You've been drinking, son? You've been drinking, son? 94.54. That's another sell zone, and 94.97, a trigger zone sell setup. A plethora of opportunities here to get short, right? So plenty of opportunities here, guys, to find your shorts, right? While you're looking for those shorts, grab your pants along with it. Bad trading jokes galore. Bad trading jokes. Targets at the low of this channel. Target 91.24. Target 90.70. Don't forget the target at the low of that channel is a moving target, right? A moving target. Don't forget, dynamic. Be different. All right? So take a look at those targets. Use those on the way down. And don't forget, guys, come out and see me tomorrow morning in the trade room, and I'll give you guys some updated levels here to use as targets, because if it keeps going higher, we're going to have some medium-term targets here to be using tomorrow morning in our trade room. All right? Don't forget to download all those charts, guys. Don't forget to download all the charts. Have those ready with you tomorrow morning when you come into my trade room at 8 o'clock. All right? Have them with you. So we know the plan, right? We know the plan. Buying Russell, selling gold, selling crude. What's up next? What do we have in store for tomorrow's news, right? What's in store for tomorrow's news? Let's take a look. Tomorrow's news calendar. looking good. Hold on one second here. We got something later on this tonight, don't we? I've got the Bank of Japan. We got meeting minutes. I've got our tertiary index. I have no bloody clue what a tertiary index is. Tertiary sounds like one of those things I picked up at summer camp, right, when I was a teenager and can't get, I know, wrong video. But the bottom line is that I've got two major news events here. That was a horrible joke. I'm sorry about that. 7:50 tonight, we got some big Red Star news out of Japan. Remember, they're really starting to struggle in Asia right now. China recently had a very poor manufacturing report. We're hearing more from them later on this week here, so that will be big news here coming out of Asia here tonight. Then, no major news on tomorrow's calendar, but we do have a plethora, a wealth of opportunities here tomorrow morning if you're in Europe. I've got 2:45 in France, 4:30 from Great Britain, 4:30 again, right? So we got two news reports at 4:30. Now remember, boy, they are really the European markets are slowing down right now. These are big, important news reports. They're not Red Star news, but they are being reacted to very, very well right now. Then, got a minor report from our buddies up north here, right? You know what I'm talking about. 8:15, we've got the housing starts. Our good friends, the North, right? Be aware of that. Whenever you see Canadian dollar news, Russian ruble news, Kiwi news, right? Anything where we have a big natural resource industry, Canada, obviously Russia, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, all of these markets are big for natural resources, right? So you're thinking natural gas, crude oil, copper, silver, gold, things like that, right? So not a big news report out of our friends from Canada, but we definitely know it's a Red Star news, so you might want to watch it. I don't expect it to do very much. My eyes and ears, though, will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. in the U.S., right? My gal, Janet Yellen, her favorite report is well, luckily it's not Holtz, right? It's the job openings and layoff turnover report, right? The JOLTS report tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then that's all we got tomorrow in the U.S., right? It's pretty much all we got. So news here. I've got overnight news in Asia. That goes into early session news in London. We then got a little bit of a sniffle there out of the CAD at 8:15, and then we go JOLTS report tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Not a lot of major news on the calendar the entire week here. We'll talk more about what's the rest of the week as we go forward, right, this second week of the month. But be aware, tomorrow, Tuesday, September 9th, not a lot of major news, but we got kind of a peppering of news throughout the entire day. All righty? Be ready for that news tomorrow. Be ready to join me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in our live trade room. And before you guys go here today, make sure you share this information with a friend. Tell them to take our free trial. Our free trial is the very best in the industry. You're going to learn more with me in a few hours on your trial than you will on any paid website out there these days, right? Stay off of Google and stay right with me. That way you can get the facts here from us. We get beginner, intermediate, and advanced level memberships. We got 3 levels of membership. Combined with that free trial, we've also got someone standing by here 24 hours a day. And as I always promise, English is the first language there on live support, so don't forget to use our live support if you have any questions at all. Guys and gals, thank you so much for being a part of our newsletter tonight. Don't forget to share this information with a friend, download the charts, join the trial, grab your free pass, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning in our live trade room at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Signing off now from a beautiful afternoon here in Los Angeles, a fall afternoon. Got these leaves changing. Great time of year to be a trader as well. We'll see you guys in the morning. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.